Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Creator Town Hall for another week. My name is Pete Johns. This is Studio Live today, where my goal is to help you create, record, and release your best music, video, art, because this is our more of general chat. So if you are an artist, if you are creating, then you've come to the right place. And I'm pretty happy here today because I'm not pulling the load by myself. I've got myself a very special guest here, and I'm not going to bury the lead here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dee Nimmin. How you doing, Dee?
I'm doing great, Pete. Thanks for having me on. I'm actually excited to be on a channel that is not focused on like YouTube growth tactics. This is exciting. Thanks for having me, man.
So what are your 5 biggest tips for YouTube growth, Dee? No, we'll get into. I'm sure we'll pick your brain about that. But yeah, it's very cool to have you. For the 2% of my audience here who don't know who you are, because I do recommend, we're in the mobile creating space together. I do recommend your channel a lot. For the 2% of people that may not know you, why don't you just let folks know who you are and what you do around here?
My name is Dee Nimmin, and currently my YouTube channel helps mobile content creators live stream and succeed on YouTube. So if you're not making music on your phone, or in addition to making music with your phone or your tablet, if you're trying to do something on YouTube with your device, that's what my channel is all about. So actually, our sites complement each other very well.
Absolutely, and I know that when you're doing live streams and people come on there saying, "Hey, how do I hook up my USB microphone to record onto my iPhone?" You're like, "Hey, Pete Johnson's there," and the same thing when people come on here and they're, "Oh, I'm doing all this stuff, but how do I promote it on YouTube and how do I get subscribers and followers and all the rest?" I'm like, Dee Nimmin's your man. So I think you're right. It's very very much of a close knit communities that we have here. So thank you so much for taking the time out and for being here. If anyone's got questions for Dee, you can throw those in the chat. This is our pretty casual kind of show. We'll be here for an hour or two, just answering questions, having a chat, and learning together to create. And speaking of creating, Dee, you've actually got a bit of a history in music. So we were chatting before the show, and I know you've mentioned it on your shows a few times that, like a lot of us, you've got this past that is a musical kind of thing. And do you want to tell folks about that and where you've come from?
How much time do you have? I'm old.
2 hours. Just jump on in. It could be the story of Dee.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm going to start way back. I'm going to go way back because I know your audience, you're all musicians, so you're going to totally understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I remember absolutely just falling in love with music back in the era of the Bee Gees. Right? The Bee Gees, when the Saturday Night Fever first hit, we had a record player. I had the album for the Bee Gees. I had Wild Cherry, right? Played the funky music, White Boy. We had all of that stuff. And I remember just early on just thinking this was like the greatest stuff ever. And I used to put it on and just like strut around the dining room table like a little kid. But I was feeling it, right? Like I didn't understand what was going on, but it literally made me like strut. And me and my stepsister, we would just strut through like an entire album around. Just our parents had to think we were just insane, but we would just like strut around the table. We were feeling it, right? It was like the Bee Gees and all that stuff. So that's kind of got me on the hook. But then I got a little bit older, got a guitar, graduated high school, and I went out to Los Angeles where I went to MIT, Music Institute of Technology. I'm a bass player, actually. I started with guitar, moved over to bass. And that was a life-changing experience for me, the year that I spent there. I was able to get lessons from Billy Sheehan. I was able to sit in and get lessons from Stuart Ham. I mean, just unbelievable teachers and mentors there through that year. So, I learned about music theory. I learned how to read music. I wanted to be a session player. Like, that was my thing. I wanted to go out there and be a session player for recordings. And it was just such an experience out there. But the coolest thing of all was in our apartment, I ended up becoming friends with the dude. To this day, I only know him as Cat Daddy, but he spent some time touring with James Brown as a bass player.
Oh, wow.
He lived directly on top of us in this apartment, this dumpy little apartment in Hollywood. And he played with James Brown, but he was also a keyboard player. And he found out that I was a bass player. He was like, "Hey, my church, I'm putting this band together for my church. It's a gospel church." And he was a keyboard player. He's like, I need a bass player. So I would go up there and like he would teach me all these gospel songs and all this stuff. Like, a dude that played bass with James Brown.
Wow.
He turned because like that time, I understood disco and I listened to a little bit of funk, but he taught me about the funk, like about about how to play and how to play behind the beat, play on the beat, and hitting on the one, and taught me about Parliament and Ohio Players and Sly and the Family Stone and all of that stuff. And he would teach me like James Brown stuff, and it was like that experience was better than actually going to school.
Yeah.
So, he taught me about the groove and truly being in the pocket. Because at school, I'm learning theory. I'm learning how all this crazy tapping from Stuart Hamm and all of this stuff. And then I go home and I'm practicing gospel stuff, and he's teaching me all these. It was insane, dude. It was that's where I really got my start. So then I ended up not being a session player. Ended up going. I left California. And I ended up being kind of like a bass player for hire, I guess, in the city that I was from. And I ended up getting gigs from people who needed bass players, like actually working bands, where I was actually making really good money. I did everything from played cover music to jazz ensembles to weddings. And so, I made a really good living at it. And then I ended up starting a multimedia company and kind of put music on the shelf professionally. And then that just whirlwind into all sorts of stuff. And in a roundabout way, now I'm pushing 50, and and I'm actually getting back into music. I ended up getting carpal tunnel too, which kind of put me off from playing a lot. But now I'm getting back into music again. The advances, as you know, the advances in music now, you can do everything on an iPad. You can do everything on a computer. Yeah. The sounds that you can buy now, the audio library. So I'm really big into soundtracks now. So I've been, for the past, 5 or 6, 7 years, really big into soundtracks. So I've been learning how to put together orchestras, through things like Ableton Live and now Logic Pro, because I got the Mac Mini. So that's kind of my journey,
Very cool. That's. I'll just pick up all those names that you just dropped over the floor, but then we'll keep it. No, that is so cool because I think I was saying before that everyone's got like some sort of music history or something happened, and it's such a common story because I'm exactly the product of that. So I've only been back into music big time for the last sort of 5 to 6 years, and before that, like in the 20s and teens, it was like, I'm going to be in a band, I'm going to play music, I'm going to be a rock star, and then life gets in the way. And I'm sure like folks that are here live in the chat, put your hand up and let us know. Are you in that position? Did life get in the way, and did your musical dreams not quite pay all the bills or not quite satisfy everything you needed? Then you got to go out there and hit the real world. But you know what? Exactly as Dee said there. Now that you've got your mobile phone in your pocket, you've got your Mac or your PC. There are so many ways that you can make me. Oh, look, we're preaching to the choir here because everyone here believes it, but it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I believe I asked the question in your group because I'm at the point now where I'm entertaining the idea of creating another channel just as not to teach people how to do anything, just as a project for things that I'm working on musically. That's why I was asking in your group about you guys using CD Baby or using DistroKid. What are you guys using? So I'm exploring that now. So I've kind of really come full circle on that because at my core, you guys know this, like even though I chose the business path and I ended up on YouTube, which is a really unplanned thing as well. Like you're still a musician. Like two things you're never going to get out of your blood. One of them is going to be if you're a musician, and if you're a skater, if you grew up skateboarding, that never leaves either. Your knees just get worse. So I'm considering a YouTube channel for that, and
that's very cool.
Yeah,
excellent. Well, that's something to look forward to there as well. And we'll talk about that as well because you've earned your crown as the king of mobile creating and doing everything on your phone, and you get to a point where you want to branch out and you want to try and experiment with different things. And I'm sure many folks here are the same, where you're creating one type of music and you're niching down, and then you're going to expand out. So we'll chat about that in a moment. Now we've got a super chat here from Tommy Bernard. He came for the Tommy? Strut. Now the problem is that when on Dees channel, he plays some funk now, and I prepared no funk, so you're gonna have to the one that I like, the Dees, the bump 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 bump. Yeah, so there you go. That's the maximum funk you're gonna get here today. You just have to go to Dees next stream and hear the real funk. And for those that are not subscribed to Dee, there's a link, of course, down in the description of this one. So make sure that you head on over and check it out, because again, if you're a mobile creator, and I know a heap of you are, then you will want to find out what Dee's got going on over there. Hello to all the other folks we got here live. We got Tom Rochelle, Joe Glenn's in the house here. We've got Mark Bro, Sion came here for the Pete Nimmin show. Yeah, there was some jokes around the community that I'm indeed the third Nimmin brother because I'm working on it. Got the haircut and the beard. Yeah. Just need a pair of glasses.
What's going on, everybody?
Hope you're doing well. If you got hard questions, all the curveball, all the really tough ones that I always avoid, you can throw them Dee's way because we've got a professional on here today. So there you go. Why don't we talk about the niche versus the generalized stuff here? Because a lot of creators are in this sort of bind, I guess, at the moment. Like I know we've got Orchestra Eclipse here, who he creates orchestral covers of songs on GarageBand on his iPhone, which is really cool.
I want to subscribe to him because, like I just said, I'm getting. Like I'm in a movie soundtrack, so I've been learning how to piece together orchestral parts. So yeah, say something in the chat, please, so I can follow you. I'm
there you go.
Interested.
Jump on Orchestra Eclipse if you're here, if you're lurking, then put it in there. But I guess the tough thing is there that once you've created those soundtracks, where do you go from there? And I know that we've been chatting, and you've mentioned on your recent stream that you're at this sort of pivotal moment here where you've done the mobile stuff for a long time. You're looking at the general stuff. For I guess the related thing for a musician is if you've been doing a certain type of music and you've really niched down and you've got a big following in that particular type, when do you pivot? What's the point where you do that? And would you create a whole new persona, a whole new channel for that pivot? Or is it okay to try and pull your existing audience along with you? What say you, Dee?
It depends. Give me a channel example. Are you talking about the orchestral channel, for example?
Yeah, why don't you say, so Orchestra Eclipse, he's doing orchestra stuff, and suddenly he wants to do some old funk cover. He wants to do some old James Brown classics, and he suddenly wants to share that, but he's got all of the people that love the orchestral covers that he does that are already following him. Does he go out differently, or does he just say, okay, now we're going to be orchestral covers and funk?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Funk orchestral covers.
I think it depends on your audience because you're going to have different types of people who follow you for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
Some people are going to follow you because they want to learn how you're doing things. How do you make orchestral music with GarageBand? How is that possible? How do you do it, right? So those people are there to learn how to do something. You have another group of people who are there because maybe they initially wanted to learn how to do something, but they've really they've fallen in love with you as a creator. They like your personality or whatever it is. They like what you're doing. Those people will be on board no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to add something else to it, that group of people, they're going to be on board no matter what. The people who came there to learn something specific, they might not necessarily want to follow you to other areas. But if it is still music, if you are still using GarageBand, chances are they might stick around, at least a lot of them. But let's say you ditched GarageBand and you started using something like Ableton Live on Windows 10. That's going to be a big disconnect from the people who are watching you now on GarageBand, iOS user, to people who are using Ableton on Windows. So I think it really depends. What I would recommend if you're thinking about doing a pivot, do a couple of tests, make a couple of videos to see how people respond. You might be surprised. You might find out that you've been in the wrong place the whole time. Like those videos that you test might end up doing way better than anything else you've ever done because you're tapping into a new audience that you've never tapped into before. So something you have to test to see how it's going to work.
Very cool, and it's something that I know because you and Daniel Batal, who will spoiler alert, we'll talk about in our hidden gems because we share later in the show. We share some YouTube channels and resources that folks may not be aware of, but should definitely follow. So when you were doing your channel reviews, you and Daniel were talking about that a heap, and you always talk about the power of testing things out, of trying things, and whether it's YouTube Shorts or whether it's like testing different thumbnails, different titles, different descriptions. If you're sharing your music or you're sharing any video, so important to test.
Yeah, well, you know what? Think of it this way as a computer. And if you guys are making GarageBand music, you know that you're not going to just pick the first sound that you hear. You're not going to just grab a piano, put it in, or grab a synth and put it in and go, oh, that's the sound. It's rare that happens. Usually, you've got to run through a couple of different sounds to see or sometimes a lot of sounds to find the right sound. You got to quantize it. You got to make sure it sounds right. You got to make sure it sits right with the mix. The same thing applies with your YouTube channel. You got to test different thumbnails. You have to test different topics. You have to test how you edit the thumbnails, the pacing of the edit. You have to learn how to communicate if you're in front of the camera. Like those are all things that you have to learn how to do, and you have to learn how to test those things to figure out what's going to sound the best. So you can actually get something put together that's right for your channel, right? So test everything. Cool. Test everything always.
ABT, always be testing. Yeah,
Always
absolutely.
be testing, right?
Very cool. We got a question for you related to music, and so it's O'Neill and Jones, who are a very cool acoustic duo, by the way, folks. So if you're into your acoustic tunes, O'Neill and Jones, do you ever find yourself looking for music to license in your various projects? And if so, where do you go?
If you're talking about YouTube projects specifically
Yeah.
or social media, I get 95% of my music from Epidemic Sound.
Yep.
I find Epidemic Sound to be the most affordable, and for that price, they have a really good selection. The downside of Epidemic Sound is that everyone uses Epidemic Sound. So, if I'm going to do something, like if I want to create a sound bed for something that people don't even notice in the videos, right? I put a video together and I spend time putting a sound bed together. The cool thing about Epidemic Sound is you can download the actual song itself, or you can download the stems. So I'm like, you know what? I just want to use the bass and the drums, and I can download those, and I might re-edit those and cut those and move them around, or I can just use bits and pieces of stuff. So I use the stems a lot from Epidemic Sound.
Well, that is cool, because I must admit I've considered it, and I know that our Sarah Newen, who was on the show last week, she also uses Epidemic
Sarah's
Sound.
great.
I believe on your advice, and whenever I think about it, I'm like, I don't really want full tracks, but I actually had no idea that you could get stems, and then you could actually just use them
the
and
stems,
mix them in.
That is where Epidemic Sound really shines. They've got a really big library, and it just keeps getting bigger. But the stems, like, you know what? I love the drums here. I just want to use the drums. You can do that.
That is cool. And for those that don't know, how does that work in terms of if you then upload a video? Because obviously I don't have Epidemic Sound now. I probably will at the end of this show, but I don't use it now. For someone that doesn't have it, obviously if I add that music, I'm going to get a copyright claim. How does that work for you as a creator if you do have that subscription to Epidemic Sound?
That's a great question. How it works with Epidemic Sound is you whitelist your channel. So they're going to ask you, what is your YouTube channel? What is your Twitter handle? What is your Facebook account? So on and so forth. So you add your socials there. And when you do that, you're generally not going to have an issue. And by chance, like, I've never had an issue with them. I've been using them since the beginning of my channel. I've never had an issue. Every now and then you'll see somebody say, I use an Epidemic soundtrack and I got a copyright claim. But then you contact Epidemic Sound and they get it cleared for you immediately, because the AI makes mistakes. Sometimes other labels will accidentally claim the wrong song. So accidents happen, but they always go to bat for you.
Very cool. Yeah, and I think Sarah said something very similar. That they're always good. They're always in your corner and helping out there. So there you go. If you're looking for those soundtracks or things to use in your projects and you don't want to create, I mean, the other way is obviously pick up your phone and jump into GarageBand and watch a whole bunch of Studio Live Today tutorials and then learn how to make it yourself. But when you just want that. But it's right. I know we've talked about it before, but sometimes you go to all that effort to put that bed of music in there, and then people are just like, oh, there was music playing in the background.
Well, the cool thing about Epidemic Sound is, so, you can download the stems. You're like, hey, I love this drum track. So you could take the drum track, you could load it up in GarageBand and put your own bass on top of it, put your own synth on top of it. You're still cleared on that.
That's cool.
So
there you go. That's new video series. Pete's just going to be going and getting stems from Epidemic Sound and creating tunes.
I've totally mixed stuff up. I've grabbed bass stems from this, and then drum stems from that, and I've mixed them up. I think Epidemic Sound is around, I think it's like $15 a month, I believe. Cool. And by the way, this is not sponsored by Epidemic. It just sounds like a big commercial for Epidemic Sound. It is.
Tell me more about the great deals of Epidemic Sound.
Well, when you download, when you sign up for Epidemic Sound, the cool thing is, so let's say you use Epidemic Sound and you put it up for, let's say you buy it for 2 months. And you're like, you know what? I don't want to use music on my YouTube channel anymore. And you cancel your membership with Epidemic Sound. Anything that you have put up during the time you are a member continues to be whitelisted. So you can't use them anymore for future music or for future videos. But any videos that you've used their tracks for during the time of your membership, it continues to be whitelisted.
Yeah, cool. That makes sense, and I'm sure that was the question that someone else has probably already put here. So there you go. That's because if you decide to not use it, and you've got 100 videos all using Epidemic Sound. The last thing you want is 100 copyright claims to hit the day afterwards. Tom loves the Streamyard mug, by the way. All hail the duck. Yes,
all hail the duck.
We bow down to our overlord Streamyard duck, and we do. Yeah, I'm a little bit jealous of that mug, just quietly.
This is a bowl. This is not. This thing is. I eat cereal out of this thing.
I was going to say that would be the ultimate cereal bowl there.
I have really big hands. I'm a big dude. I'm like 6'1.5". Big hands. This thing is huge.
Yeah. That's massive, amazing.
Yeah.
I feel somewhat inferior with my tiny Studio Live Today mug now. I need to hit up Streamyard and say, how do I get a mug?
I would be ashamed. I mean, the size doesn't matter, they say, but I'd be ashamed to show that in public.
I need to do some camera tricks and put it closer so it looks larger. Bubba's got funkestral. There you go. There's your funk and your orchestral combined is funkestral. You've got to be really careful when you say or type that funkestral.
There you go.
Sion's got a question here. Where would you recommend to go for video transition effects that can be used on mobile devices? Now you have done a heap of videos on editing on your mobile device. So what about transitioning? I mean, I don't use a lot of transitions when I edit. I'm a king of jump cut, but any tips on transitions?
Yeah. So if you're on an iOS device, I think LumaFusion has some great transitions. And I've seen people selling transitions specifically for LumaFusion.
Yep.
There's another app called Alight Motion that you can build transitions in and then export that and then bring that in and use that as a transition. But there's some other great apps. VideoLeap has some cool transitions. I believe VN and VLLO. I always get VN and VLLO mixed up, but one of those has some really cool transitions for free, where all kinds of cool shaking and like static things. It's either VN or VLLO.
Cool. There you go.
But VideoLeap is cool too, but they've just changed things, and I don't think it's as free as it used to be.
Yeah. I'm a LumaFusion. I know you've used your LumaFusion and still do, and you've recommended other apps depending whether you're on Android or like most people here on iOS. But
right.
Yeah, I found LumaFusion the easiest because again, you've got complete creative control over that. They don't have to just use. You can just use the cookie cutter ones that are there, but you can tweak every setting in there and play around and get some cool stuff if you want to. You could even get a nice 1980s star wipe if you wanted to. I'm sure you could do that.
Yeah.
Eric Waite Whiskey Studies. So on the niching stuff says I used to have wine and whiskey channel, but discovered that they were two different consumers, so I split the channel to two separate channels, one for wine and one for whiskey. I mean, I like both.
Exactly.
I'd tune in for wine and whiskey, but that's okay. Could probably do both and do well. So in terms of the niche and the general stuff, for you, Dee, where are you at with that? So are you planning to do that? Doing some soul searching, some testing yourself at the moment in terms of your audience and your videos?
I am. We've talked about this before. So first and foremost, talking about niching down. So my niche is to help mobile content creators and mobile live streamers succeed on YouTube. That's what I do.
Yep.
What happened out of the gate was, right, for every video I uploaded for iOS users, people who subscribed with an Android didn't watch that video. For every video I made for an Android device, iOS users didn't watch the Android video. And what happens with YouTube when you do that, when you're segmenting your audience this way, YouTube notices, well, hey, he uploaded it. YouTube doesn't know it's an iOS video and that the Android people aren't interested in it. All YouTube knows is he uploaded a video and a lot of people were not interested in that video.
Yeah.
So guess what happens? That video doesn't get as much attention as it should have because it keeps happening, right? It's not just a one-off. So every time I upload iOS video, iOS people watch it, Android doesn't, and back and forth. And I've segmented my audience that way. If I would have started my channel focusing on one, either, it doesn't matter which one, iOS or only Android, my channel would probably be 2 or 3 times bigger than it is now because I would have streamlined the channel. It would have been totally aerodynamic. YouTube would know exactly who the audience is for my channel, so they would make sure that my content gets in front of the right audience instead of showing iOS videos to Android users and so on and so forth. So that has slowed me down, and I want to get away from that if I can.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking about doing, well, I'm probably going to do, is start introducing videos for people with computers and people with cameras because a lot of my community have started transitioning. Like, hey, I used a phone for a couple of years, and now I want a camera. And instead of me handing them off to another channel, since I have the knowledge, because I know how to use that stuff, it just makes sense for me to start including. Now, I am segmenting my audience more while I do that. I'm in a unique position, though, because I've already established myself, so I can kind of get away with it now a little bit more. But if I were starting, if somebody came to me for advice, I would say pick one and run with it. You can change later, right? But if you want to grow faster, you need to think in terms of aerodynamics. So pick one thing and run with it. But I do have the luxury now of being able to cater to a larger audience because due to sponsorships and sponsor content and that sort of thing, who I cater to at this point really isn't as important because my channel's more established.
Yeah, very cool. So, niche down early until you're established, and then you can consider generalizing down the track.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's move on and talk about some audio for video, and it's related to a question that Mark has here. So Mark says, do you know an easy way to play a sound file through a Skype or Zoom meeting? I can use a PC, Mac, or iPad, iPhone. So that's probably a good question to lead into. What's your setup there, Dee? Because you are still in Mexico, I believe, at the moment. See. So Dee is an American who lives in Thailand, currently in Mexico. Long story. Well, maybe we'll talk about it later. So you're obviously being portable and having to set yourself up rigs there to do your live streams, and you've obviously got amazing looking lighting and sound and video and everything coming through there. So I know it's like probably a loaded question here, but what's sort of your go-to setup there in terms of when you want to stream, you want to bring in music, you get yourself set up there?
Well, when I first started traveling, when I first came to Mexico before the world shut down, I had my iPhone and my iPad and a laptop computer. Like that was the gear that I was using. And I was using my iPhone to stream with, and it was fine, but I found that if I was streaming for a long time, it would start to overheat depending on the app that I was using, so on and so forth. And then I got some different sponsorship deals, and I needed to start making content on their channels and live streaming on their channels. So I picked up two, actually, Sony ZV-1 cameras. That's what I'm live streaming with right now. And I picked up a Rodecaster. Rodecaster, is that what they're called? The name. Procaster. The Procaster is the mic, the Rodecaster. There it is, the Rodecaster Pro. I picked up one of those, right? So if and right now I'm running an actual pod mic through that, it's got a built-in setting for that. So the Rodecaster Pro with a pod mic, that's how my audio is coming through. I'm using an A10 Mini because I have two Sony ZV-1 cameras set up. I've got an iPhone set up as a camera, and I have the ability to use my iPad as a camera as well. I don't have all those set up, and I use the A10 Mini as a switcher. There you go. But for this stream, I've just got the one camera. So my mix is a hodgepodge of mobile accessories and normal accessories as well. But if I had to just grab my iPhone, I would grab my iPhone, and I have a couple of different microphones. Let me see if I can pull this over here without breaking stuff. I've got this. This contraption. So this is the Rode Video Mic NTG. Nice. And I have just MacGyvered a windscreen on it, right, to get in front of it. So if I'm recording a video, I'm using this. I also have the Shure MV88 Plus, which I use for actually recording mobile content. So I can grab one of these and connect it to my phone and go live with it. So yeah, I can do either or.
Very cool. So yeah, and I guess as we say around this channel all the time, is create with what you have right now. And I know you say the same thing. If you've got your phone, the microphones on these, especially the newer iPhones, are actually pretty darn good. If you've got nothing else, just set up your camera, hit record, and go for it.
Yeah, I've streamed like that before too. No microphone at all, just a built-in. I'm a firm believer of just work with what you have. And that's the core of my channel. I've got videos on how to use this app and how to use that app, but at the core of my channel, I'm just trying to encourage people to just start with what they have, and that's usually your phone, right?
Absolutely.
Start with what you've got. Upgrade later when you know what you need.
Spot on, and then you can buy fancy stuff like this. And for those that don't know what the A10 Mini actually does, like it's a camera switcher, but how does that actually work and function in with your streams?
Yeah, great question. So the A10 Mini connects to my laptop via USB-C. I believe that's how I've got it connected. And out of my iPad and my two cameras and my iPhone, I have them all running HDMI into the back of the A10 Mini, and it works as a camera switcher.
Very cool.
So those buttons on the front there, the 1, 2, 3, 4, that gives you 4 HDMI inputs. And to run it out of my iPad and my iPhone, I've got the Apple dongle, the lightning port to HDMI, and then connect the HDMI cable that goes into the A10 Mini. It's a hodgepodge of stuff, but it works. Totally works.
Oh, it is. It looks very cool, and yeah, someone who's dabbled with trying to get the HDMI to USB adapters and things, and card captures and things like that, especially with Apple gear. As everyone around here knows, buy the genuine Apple dongles. It's frustrating. It costs a lot. They're 3 times the cost, but they work, and the others just don't.
Yeah. Anytime I make a video about, hey, I've got this new microphone connected to your iPhone, my comments are just filled with people saying like, I bought the adapter, but it didn't work. I'm like, what brand did you get? And they're like, I don't know. I got it from this no-name company. It was like $4. I'm like, yeah, that's why it doesn't work. You have to get the Apple brand dongles. You have to spend the money. Yeah,
I've literally had people come to me saying, Pete, I've got an iPad Pro, I've got like a Shure SM7B and a mixer, and then I've got it all connected up to my iPad using this dongle, and it failed. And I'm like, you spent $2,000 on audio gear, and then you cheaped out spending $10 instead of $40 on your dongle. It's not good economics right there.
Yeah, I'll tell you something else too about my setup, since I'm talking about the mobile, non-mobile setup. So I also use my iPad. I use an app called BossJock Jr. As a sound bank, so I can put laughs in there or music or super chat sounds or whatever. And I also, what I've done is I've created live stream playlists inside of Epidemic Sound. They allow you to create a playlist. So what I do is I open up a browser on. I should have set up a camera to show you all this stuff if I would have been thinking. If I were better at what I did, I would have a camera set up to show you all this.
So what day off, Dee. You're on my channel. You can relax. It's cool.
So what I do is I open up a browser. I open up Safari, and I have an entire playlist of curated music from my live streams, and I send the Bluetooth signal from my iPad over to the Rodecaster Pro, and then that plays my music.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
that's very cool. So yeah, I think like most people, and I know that some folks that are here on the live and that will watch the replay of this, you start simple, and then it's amazing how quickly you can just start MacGyvering things together and getting your own very special way of doing things.
It's all MacGyvered. Everything in here is MacGyvered. I've got clamps holding up things that they shouldn't be holding up. I've got various, portable lights. Like I've got my light set up. Like this is an Aperture RGB light. I forget the exact model name, but that's what's behind me, right, with the purple light. But I've got like a couple of these putting lights on me, and keep it mobile.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, very, very cool. So being forced into being a bit more mobile, I guess. So it's you're going to roll with the punches. And I guess back to Mark's question. So yeah, I guess the easiest way is to use some sort of mixer. So use something like the Rodecaster, or I'll just use a very cheap, simple Samson mixer that I'm using here. It just allows you to bring in multiple sources, and it's a lot easier. You can get for mobile and for PC and Mac, you can get sort of virtual mixers where you basically hack your sound card to make it do, which work okay. But I don't know about you. I've always found that a physical slider and a physical input just works a lot easier when you try to combine sounds into live streams.
Yeah, I have not tried to get an iOS device to play audio inside of Skype or Zoom. But what I do know works, because I do it during meetings, the Rodecaster will show up as an audio source. So it has a sound bank in it as well. So you can program the sound banks. It also has a connector just for your phone. So if you wanted to have a conversation come through, but it just registers up as an audio source.
Yeah.
Of all the gear I've purchased in the past, since I started my YouTube channel, I think the best thing I've purchased is the Rodecaster Pro.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little jealous because I ended up buying the Zoom LiveTrack L8, which is a very similar device, but they still haven't made a driver for the Mac M1. So I'm back on my old mixer because Zoom, they just weren't on the ball, and it just does not function, not even as a stereo source right now. So
I'm having problems with the M1. So I get a lot of my audio library, my orchestral sounds from Spitfire Audio. And they don't have all of their libraries converted over yet to work with the M1. Yeah. So I actually purchased a bunch of them, and maybe half of them work and the other half don't work. Yeah. So really disappointed with that.
That's it is a challenge when you're bleeding edge like us, Dee, and you're right there at the forefront with the new stuff. Then we're feeling the pain, so that when you folks do it in a year's time. It'll all the bugs will be ironed out for you.
Right. I'm wasting my money. He's wasting his money, so you don't have to. That's
spot on. Exactly right. By the way, thank you to our awesome moderators here. So Tom here is throwing down the links. We've got Sion as well here, dropping links there. Yeah, BossJock. I actually used BossJock back in the day. I used to be a PA announcer at the ice hockey here in Adelaide, and
Really?
BossJock was one of the things that I used a bunch of different stuff. But because I was mobile, I had a bunch of things, and because you got to do the national anthem, so you just hit a button on there. You got to have all your songs and queued up to the right point of the songs, because you don't want a boring 3-minute intro when they're about to drop the puck. You need the chorus bit. So yeah, it's a really cool app. If you've never played with it, I'll pop it up here.
It's not the best looking user interface. It's very simple, but it works.
Clunky, but it works.
It never crashes. It's just, it does what it says it's going to do. Not pretty, but it works.
Exactly. So yeah, if you're looking to trigger sounds and you don't want to go the hardware route, having an app like that. And again, if you've got a mixer, all you need is an 1/8" output and just plug it out. And assuming your gear still has a headphone jack, but otherwise it's Dongle City for you.
City, yeah.
Jungle City. And Tom likes whatever works is a great motto for live streaming. Exactly. If it works, you just don't touch it. You leave it and you go, right, it's working now, so we're not going to touch it. Same with your recording setup. You get that really cool guitar tone. You just go, I don't know what I did or how I did it, but it's working and it sounds good. Let's record.
Not touching it. Yep.
O'Neill and Jones have another question here. What's the most amount of work you've lost in one go due to a drive, crash, power cut, or senior moment? For us, it's 2 days of editing. Oh, well, I feel a rant about the importance of backing up coming on here, Dee. But do you have any horror stories of crashes that have cost you time or effort?
I've lost hard drives full of videos, full of recorded videos, full of other people's videos that I shot for projects where I was paid to do it. You have to back your stuff. Any time where I've run the risk, where I'm like, you know what? I don't have a backup drive right now. I'm not into cloud. So I normally live in Thailand. Internet isn't the best there. So having cloud backup for me really isn't the best solution. So I always buy like here's a backup hard drive, and I buy a second hard drive, and I just back things up twice. So I have a ton of hard drives. But any time, without fail, I've been like, I'll wait next week to get the new drive because this one's full. Without fail, something will crash and I'll lose data.
God.
So yeah, it happens. You got to back your stuff up.
Yes, back yourself and back up your stuff. Very important stuff.
Twice.
Yeah. That's the thing. And whenever I rant about this, people are like, oh, yeah, I got this stuff on my hard drive and then I backed it up to a USB drive and then I deleted it. I'm like, guess what? You no longer have a backup. If it's in one place, it's not a backup. So if you copy something onto a backup drive and that's the only copy and that drive fails, that's not a backup. That's just transferring it from one place to another. So yes, 2 places, people. 2 places for everything.
Yep.
Let's jump into some of the other things I wanted to talk about here. Now, because you are YouTube guru extraordinaire, and I know that on a lot of your live streams you get asked sort of questions about this, about managing the negativity and that sort of thing. And I don't know if you saw this news from about a week or 2 ago of YouTube doing some experimenting of removing the public display of dislikes on YouTube videos, which for us here in Australia, we already have that on Instagram. So you can no longer see here in Australia the number of Instagram likes that a post has got, which they removed apparently for mental health of creators because everyone was chasing the likes and chasing the follows instead of creating content. What do you think about this for YouTube? Do you see a future in dislikes going away?
Yeah, the dislikes are going to go away. They've already disabled them here. So the thumbs up, thumbs down button is still there, but there's no more data showing for that.
Right.
There's 2 ways to look at it. You can look at it from a creator's point of view, and if people give you thumbs down, it doesn't matter. That affects the algorithm in no way, shape, or form. You could have 1 million thumbs up, 1 million thumbs down. It does not affect the performance of the video. Doesn't matter, right? So from a creator standpoint, doesn't matter. Get rid of it, add an extra thumbs down. It doesn't matter, okay? From a viewer's perspective, I don't care. I don't care, but I can see how I saw some people make comments like, it helps them determine if the tutorial they're going to watch is a worthy tutorial or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But here's the thing: you're still gonna you don't see the thumbs up or thumbs down before you actually click the video. Like that, True. You got to click in and you got to look at it first. So I don't know. I think people getting really upset about them removing the dislike button. I don't know. I think there's a lot of fake rage going on. Because you can still leave a comment. You can leave a comment and say, I dislike this video. And that's probably what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
They're not taking comments away. You can still leave a comment. You can tell them how displeased you are with the video that you're watching, right? But the actual thumbs up, thumbs down, I mean, it's cool to see thumbs up, right? It's cool to see that. But creator perspective, it doesn't matter. From a viewer's perspective, you're going to get used to it. They're going away everywhere. They're going 2 or 3 years from now, nobody's going to have this option.
Yeah. Okay. So you heard it here first. There you go. Predictions as well. Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting because I know a lot of people put a lot of importance on, and we'll talk subs as well later, and subscribers and followers and all these vanity metrics, and likes and dislikes are one that, and I've literally, I heard a term which was like a dislike campaign, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even think that there's people that are out there spending their time and money and energy, not money, but time and energy going around with dislike campaigns to try and bring people down. Like that's crazy.
The funny thing about that, okay, so, the thumbs up, the thumbs down, that's not going to affect a video's performance, right? Yeah. Click-through rate and watch time, that's what affects the video performance. But thumbs up and thumbs down, they're both engagement. So when YouTube is looking at engagement, it doesn't say, oh, wow, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's all engagement. So everyone who gives you a thumbs down, they're giving you engagement. YouTube doesn't care. Yeah, and that's the thing. YouTube doesn't care if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. They don't care. Yeah. So, the fact that they're taken away, I think it's good. I mean, we are, I'm going to be careful how I say this. We are living in an age where people are really getting caught up in the metrics and letting things like dislikes and negative comments destroy them or send them into a very dark place. So I think we're going to see more platforms start to protect the creators.
Yeah,
because of this.
Yeah, exactly. And we have seen that. And I had a post that I put on my community tab this week of someone that made a comment on my video. And I mean, you've been dealing with this for years, as have I. They roll off me these days. I don't even give it a second thought. But the reason I sometimes share them is to, I guess, show that everyone gets these comments. There are people out there that are going to just have a really bad day, bad week, bad life, whatever. And they want to actually go and do that. And the one thing that I want to make sure is that creators out there aren't looking at what a stranger has to say on the internet about one video one time and it impacting their long-term creative aspirations, because you gotta do it for you, not for other people anyway. And one random stranger on the internet, their comments and their feedback shouldn't affect you from creating.
It does though, right? There are some really just, I don't know the right word to, I mean, some people are just very emotional, some people are very sensitive. And one really mean comment can make people quit making content. I get questions all the time like, hey, I uploaded my first video, I got these negative comments, now I don't want to do it again. And you have to kind of like work them through the process. But the cool thing is about comments is that YouTube gives us the ability to put in keywords to filter those words out, right? My filter list, and I'm sure your filter list it's huge. It's almost as big as my StreamYard cup. Let me help you for a second. But in my filter list, it's not. I'm like you. I've got thick skin, right? I don't. Yeah. Unless you're paying my bills, I don't care what you have to say. Right. Bottom line on that one. But I like to make my comments both brand friendly and family friendly, and I want my comments to be a safe place. So I put every negative word I can find, racist terms, curse words, profanities, negative anything I can find or people will say where I can say, hey, this could be hurtful to someone else. I put that in my filter list so people don't have to actually see them.
Absolutely. And there you go. I hope folks are taking notes. I know many folks said when I said, I've got Dee on, they're like, I'm going to be there looking at the screen, just like taking down notes. But that is a gold one and you can even turn approval on for all the comments. So if you're at the point where you really don't want it, you can turn comment approval on. I don't recommend it. I think that, if you've got a decent filter list, it'll all just go into your spam, and then you can either go in there and... exactly.
So what I tell people, exactly. I get, asked all the time as a YouTube educator, like, how do I deal with this? And I'll say, okay, well, what are some things that people say? And I'm like, all right, you take these words, and I walk them through, and I show them how to add the list. And I say, put these words in the list, and they're going to go into your held for review folder. Never open that folder until you're ready to deal with it.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's good advice because, yeah, there's all sorts in there.
Yeah, and the people who leave those comments, they don't know that their comment's been held. Right.
Yep.
And the cool thing is once you are ready to go in there, once you are ready to deal with these people, YouTube gives us the ability to hide people from the channel. So when you hide someone from the channel, they don't know that they're hidden. They can continue to leave comments and be trolls. They can say mean things in your live streams. They're the only ones who can see it. No, it's like an old man yelling at clouds. Nobody else can see it, and they're not notified that they're hidden. They're just gone, poof, and they think that they're still active. So that's quite fun.
It is great because there's nothing that pleases me more than the idea of a troll wondering why no one's reacting to their funny, witty remarks on your live stream because a moderator has jumped in and said, see ya, and hidden them from the channel forever.
Gone. So, yeah. See ya.
It is great. We've got a question from Warchild. Are you guys twins? No.
Yeah.
Why
didn't you roll with that one? Yeah.
Oh, come on.
We're long lost cousins, cousin twins.
Oh, well, yep. You just never know. You just never know. Yes, MacGyver is a function over vanity. Absolutely. I've got the... You do not want to see this side of the camera. Like, I tidy up that side because I knew Dee was on the stream today, but you do not want to see that side of the camera, probably on anyone's stream because it's got a lot. We've got some folks wanting to add different buttons, maybe some other emojis. And I think it is going to get to the point where, because without harping on this, but I think originally the whole like-dislike was like the old TiVo thing. It was basically, hey, I like this, give me more, or hey, I don't like this, don't show me this sort of content anymore. And it's evolved into this, give you your opinion on everything and everyone having an opinion. So, yeah.
Well, the crazy thing about YouTube is a viewer giving a video a thumbs down doesn't equal don't show this to me anymore. It just means I don't like this video, but YouTube sees it as engagement. So there's a good chance they're going to continue to show you the same type of content, trying to find one that you actually like, because YouTube is a predictive machine. The number one goal of YouTube is to find videos that the viewer wants to watch based on their viewer habit, based on their engagement habit, based on the devices that they use, so on and so forth. So it's trying to predict what the viewer wants to watch next. So when it sees lots of engagement, positive or negative, it says, okay, this viewer's engaging with this sort of content.
Yeah.
Here's more of it.
Which again is great to. I love the idea again of someone going, I'm gonna dislike every one of this guy's videos, and then they go to their YouTube the next day and it's like, oh, it's full of Dee and Pete because you've engaged with 10 videos in a row.
Bring it on.
I love it. For a lot of folks here, again, a lot of folks out here are musicians or they're music creators and they're sharing their content, and they're probably recording and sharing their songs, maybe doing lyric videos, maybe putting out videos of them performing songs, a lot of doing behind the scenes videos or tutorials on how they create music. Live streaming has kind of taken off in a big bad way. You're doing a lot more of it. I'm doing a lot more of it. A lot of people are. Streamyard and places like this help us do it because they make it easy. Should, as a musician or as a music content creator, should you live stream? And maybe what are some of the sort of pros and cons of pivoting and starting to live stream on a music related YouTube channel?
No, you shouldn't. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Yes, you should. And here's the thing about live streaming. First of all, if you've never gone live, the thought of going live can be a terrifying thing, right? What do I do? What do I say? What if nobody shows up? What if people are mean to me? There's a million reasons why people think they shouldn't go live. And yeah, there is some truth to that, right? You have to learn how to carry the conversation. If that's what you're doing, you have to learn how to deal with trolls in your chat. You have to learn about the text. So there are things you have to learn, but you learn that really fast. So the real great thing about live streaming is the interactivity with your community. People get to see you as you, the creator or the musician, not the polished, well-edited, where you've trimmed out all the things where you said the wrong things or where you've sneezed in the middle of something that you were saying, right? An edited video is edited, it's polished. It is you, but it's not a true representation of you. Going live, what you see is what you get. Right. And I think for a musician, I think it's really cool as a musician because you can get you could set up your live stream. And I've seen a lot of people do this where it's like, hey, I'm creating beats tonight. Join me. Yeah. And you just set it up and you're just creating some beats and walking them through the process, showing them how you're recording things or coming up with the beats and explaining why you're doing it and getting their feedback. Like you can really bring people in on a more intimate level and bring them into your world and let them see how you actually create this thing. that you're so passionate about. And that's where live streaming is just so powerful, that intimate connection, immediate connection with your audience.
Yeah, very cool. And and I know that, I mean, I've gotten to know a lot of your community because previously you did a lot of tutorials and you'd occasionally do live streams. And then more recently, and due to all sorts of situations, probably being in Mexico and having to be mobile all the time, you've been doing a lot more live streaming. And, I've made friends and contacts with a whole bunch of your community just by being in the live stream. It really gives you that part of a community.
Yeah, the live stream, not everyone likes live streams, but people who do, they tend to keep coming. I mean, I know you see the same thing. You probably have the same people coming back to the live streams because they enjoy the live stream experience, and you get to know people that way. You're like, I saw you, how you doing? You get to learn about each other's channels, and then maybe collaborations will kick off, or you become friends with people. Live streaming is fantastic.
It is great. Tom says live streaming has revolutionized YouTube and content creation in general on the net. And I think it definitely has. And something we'll talk about after, which is short form videos, because I know that along with live streaming, it's almost like we've got really long form live content and then we've got really short form content, and both of those are super popular right now. So it is an interesting time to be online. Are there any pitfalls or any challenges with live streaming? Like one of the rumors, and I actually talked about this on a Patreon stream recently, is that quite often when you live stream, you actually lose subscribers. Have you experienced that over time, that you've actually you've done a live stream and then you go check your stats afterwards and you're down 5 or 10 subscribers based on that one stream?
I lose live streamers. I lose subscribers almost every time I stream. Almost every time I stream. Reason being is because my live streams on my channel are usually Q&A, right? Q&A. You got a question about YouTube, about making stuff with your phone. You got a question, I get an answer. Sometimes the streams are smaller. Sometimes there'll be over 100 people in there. It totally depends, but the chat gets moving quickly, and you can't talk to everybody in the chat at a certain size. And what happens is people ask a question, you don't get to the question, or they don't like the question you gave them. People get upset and they leave. Sometimes people say, hey, look at my channel. They ask for advice. I give them advice. They don't like it. They unsubscribed. You got to be careful. When you ask people for advice, you got to be ready to hear what someone has to say. Or maybe I just overlooked them. Maybe somebody just asks the same question over and over. Maybe I said a joke that offended them, or maybe I did something, or maybe they just don't like my music choices, right? People unsubscribe for all sorts of different reasons. But I lose subscribers. Most people that I know who live stream on a regular basis and have a fairly large audience when they do, most of them lose subscribers, I would say, at least on half of their streams.
Yeah.
So that's common.
Which, and I guess it's something to keep in mind. And I went back and checked, and there's a few streams that I lose subscribers on, and occasionally you'll gain a couple, but
sometimes you gain them, sure. Sometimes you gain them. It is what it is, right? I think if you are just doing like a hang out with me, watch me make beats, that sort of thing, I think you're going to have less people unsubscribing. In my case, I lose a lot because, like I said, I can't answer everyone's questions. And some people get upset with that. They take it really personally. When it's not anything personal against them, it's just there's 100 people in here chatting. I can't talk to everyone in here. I just can't do it.
Yeah, a lot of the regulars here know that I do a show every week called Your Music Live, where people submit their songs and then I play independent music. It's a cool time. We hang out, we listen to tunes, and it gets a bit of exposure for some independent artists. But inevitably, and the moderators know this, every week someone will come in and they'll be like, play my beat, play my beat, play my fire beat. They'll spam the chat and then they'll get kicked out. And then they'll get their knickers in a twist and unsubscribe or react in a bad way. Because again, you can't get, and what am I going to do? Say these 50 people that I've submitted last week that have been waiting, oh wait, no, Fire Pants 39 just wants me to play his beat, so he's going to jump in the queue. It's it's not a happening thing.
Yeah, it was going to be another thing is moderators will sometimes have to silence or ban spammers, and when they kick them out, they usually unsubscribe.
Yeah, which is cool. And Huska said that I'm ignoring him, so he's unsubscribing. There you go. I'm very sorry.
Peace out.
Yep. Enjoy. No, Huska's a good, and Bear says that I'm too cool, can't unsubscribe. So thank you. Exactly. You know what? Bring the funk. When you got beards like this, you got to subscribe. That's right.
Truth is, a bear. I've seen bear paws. They're not going to be able to hit that unsubscribe button. Your bear paws are too big. I see you in your profile picture there. Yeah, paw is too big.
Oh, I love it. Speaking of subscribers, we'll talk one more topic and then we'll jump into a bit of midpoint motivation. Because in the middle of the show, we always have a bit of a motivational topic, and I want your take on this week's motivational question. But do subs matter, Dee Nimmin? Should people be chasing those subscribers? Everyone seems to tell me that they want more subs. What say you on this one?
Subscribers make no difference whatsoever on putting weight on the success of any of your videos, right? Yep. Subscribers are a vanity number, period. Now, subscribers do unlock particular features, specific features on YouTube. For example, when you get your first 100 subscribers, you can claim your custom URL on YouTube. So youtube.com/your name, right? When you get to 1,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers, it unlocks different features. But subscribers, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to get more. Like, I don't get more juice on my video because I have 100-something thousand subscribers, right? You can get equally just as much juice on your video if you have a smaller channel, because video performance comes down to your click-through rate, how many people are clicking on your video, and it comes down to how long people are watching your video, and it also comes down to how long are they staying on the platform after they watched your video. Are they watching a second video or even a third video after they come to your channel? Those are the things that YouTube looks at. They don't actually look at your subscribers. So subscribers matter to unlock features. Subscribers matter for social proof. Some brands foolishly only work with subscribers or only work with channels that have a certain subscriber count. That's a mistake, right? That's a mistake, because that doesn't matter. Subscribers do not build your community, right? People can still be part of your community and not be subscribed, because a weird thing happens with YouTube, and everyone can test this. You can log out of YouTube, take the phone app, log out of YouTube, so you have no viewer history. You could even uninstall the app and install it so it's completely fresh, and then go watch 2 or 3 videos from Pete. Don't subscribe, right? Because you're not logged in. You can't subscribe. Just go watch 2 or 3 of his videos and watch what YouTube does over the course of the next week. You're going to open up YouTube, and after you've watched a couple of his videos, YouTube's going to show a couple of more of his videos in front of you, because YouTube's going to see, even though you're not logged in, even though you're not subscribed, it knows, based on your device, based on the information it can get without you being logged in, what you're interested in. So the more you watch, the more you engage with, the longer you watch, the more you click, YouTube sees that and gives you more of that, even if you're not subscribed. The most powerful thing that you can do as a YouTuber isn't asking someone to subscribe. It's to get someone to watch a second or third video, get them to watch additional pieces of content. That's the most powerful thing that you can do in 2021 moving forward, because those are signals to YouTube. This viewer loves this content, right? And remember how I said YouTube is a predictive machine trying to figure out what the viewer wants to watch next. The more user data it has on that viewer that it likes your content, the likelihood of them seeing more of your content, even if they're not subscribed, increases the more content of yours they watch. So no, subscribers don't matter, but they feel good. And I do believe in celebrating your win. So if you hit a milestone, celebrate that win, because it's hard to get subscribers. They do feel good. We feel like it is a measurement of success, right? Like, ooh, I'm getting subscribers. I'm getting there. In reality, right? What matters is, in terms of like what YouTube sees, how does the audience respond to your content? That's what YouTube is looking at. How much watch time are you generating? Right? That's what YouTube's looking at, because YouTube wants to play ads. YouTube is a business. YouTube wants to put ads on the videos that people are watching, or get them to subscribe to become a premium member. That's what YouTube wants to do. So the more you can get people to watch content, the more likely you're going to do better on YouTube. Now, is this too long? I can keep going on this one. I can keep going.
I know. I did say that we would tap into your brain and get you ranting on this stuff. No, the one thing, and you'll probably mention it as well, is can you please convince folks that are out there why they shouldn't do the sub for sub and the like for like and the follow for follow stuff? Because I know you've talked about this, and I've learnt from you, and I now pass on your information. But I'd love for my audience here to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Why is sub for sub bad?
There's a couple of reasons sub for sub is bad, but let me explain to you what happens when you upload a video. Doesn't matter if I upload a video, Pete uploads a video, or you with a brand new channel with 5 subscribers, you upload a video. The exact same thing happens It just happens at a different scale. So let's say you have 5 subscribers and you upload a video. Immediately, as soon as you upload that video, YouTube starts looking at data, okay? And they're gonna, based on viewers' user habits, if YouTube thinks that a particular group of people will enjoy your video, they'll put that video in front of those people. Now, it might only be 3 people. It might only be 5 people.
Yep.
But YouTube will stick it in front of somebody every single time, okay? And immediately they watch and they see what happens. Will those 5 people click on the thumbnail? If they do click on the thumbnail, do they immediately click off the video or do they continue to watch the video? How long of the video do they watch? Do they go on to watch another piece of content, right? If they show it to 5 people and 3 or 4 out of those 5 click and they watch that video to a good length and maybe even go on to watch another video, YouTube will show it to another group of people. Maybe it'll show it to 10 people.
Yep.
And then they start watching that. And then if those people react positively, maybe it'll show it to 50 people. And that happens at a really fast pace. And they're looking at what are they clicking on? What are they watching on, right? Immediately. But the same thing happens in reverse. You upload a video, they show it to 5 people. 4 or 5 of those people, they just don't click, or they do click, and then they click off because they don't like your video for whatever reason. YouTube sees that as a negative signal, your video dies.
Yeah.
Right? Positive signals will keep rising your video. Negative signals will kill your video immediately. So when YouTube says, or I'm sorry, when creators say, YouTube hates small creators, the algorithm hates small creators. First and foremost, the algorithm follows the audience. Repeat that to yourself as many times as you have to until you understand that. The algorithm follows the audience. That's why they're looking at those data points. What does the audience do? Is the audience clicking? If so, is the audience watching? If so, how long is the audience watching? The more they click, the longer they watch. The algorithm follows the audience and gives life to your video. So it's not that YouTube hates small creators. It's that you currently, as a small creator, don't have the skills yet to understand what gets people to click, and you don't have the skills yet to make a video and edit the video and present in front of the camera or whatever it is you're doing with your video to instantly lock them into your video to get them to watch your video longer. You just don't have the skills yet, right? Yeah. If I hand you a guitar, right, musicians in here, I hand you a guitar or a keyboard, you're not going to sit down and you're not going to pick up the guitar and start tapping, Flight of the Wounded Bumblebee from Nuno Betancourt. That's not going to happen. You have to learn. Okay, this is a G major chord. This is a D, right? You stumble and you're terrible at first. The exact same thing applies to YouTube, right? You got to learn the skills to get people to click, to get people to watch. Now, to answer your question, coming back around to sub for sub, knowing what we know about the user experience now, right? YouTube knows what viewers. They have their viewer history. They know what people are watching. They know when you're watching on your phone. They know when you're watching on your computer. They know that when you're on your phone at nighttime, you typically watch shorter videos. They know this, right? They know that you typically watch different types of content at different times of the day, and they try to show you that type of content. They want you to watch videos. Knowing this, you go into sub for sub, right? Sub for sub groups are really popular on Facebook. There's even apps that help you do sub for sub. What happens is these people are subscribing to your channel, and a lot of them will say, I'll watch your video. Maybe they'll watch one video. Maybe they watch a couple of seconds of your video, okay? Here's what happens. Remember I was talking about it starts looking at those data signals. So you upload a video. You've got these sub for sub people who have promised to watch your video. They click on your thumbnail to give you that view count. That's all they're doing. They're clicking so you get a view. Nobody's going to watch your video unless they're really interested in it. Most sub for sub people aren't doing that. They're just chasing numbers. They click, they let it play for a couple of seconds, and they click off. Yeah. That's a negative signal. And when you're doing this with all of these sub for sub accounts, they're clicking to give you a view count. They subscribe to give you a subscriber count. They click in to give you a view, and then they click off. You are murdering your video and ultimately your channel because those are 100% negative signals going to YouTube that these people click and they don't like your video. So YouTube just sinks your video. This is why sub for sub channels really never grow. Yeah. You get subscribers, but you truly never grow a community. You truly never get good views on your video because you're killing your channel when you do this. Now, if you just get subscribers and you're not watching your video, YouTube says, this channel is getting all these subscribers, and every time this channel uploads, no one is clicking. No one's clicking. All these subscribers and no one clicks. Negative signal kills the video. So you're actually killing your channel and killing your videos when you're doing any kind of sub for sub whatsoever. And it doesn't matter what the people say. I'll watch it to the very end. Yeah, well, yeah, a couple people might do that, but the majority of them will not. So you're killing yourself when you do that. Long answer there. Thanks for sticking with me.
It was good, and I wanted to make sure you got the full context of that.
Yeah,
because
a really long answer, but that I had to get that out.
Exactly, and from because I could have probably given that answer because I've heard Dee say that a bunch of times. So thank you for repeating it again for the audience here. But it is, and as soon as I sort of got the grasp of that, and I've been preaching the same thing. But interestingly, what you say about the numbers, as soon as I shifted from caring about sub counts or even view counts and focused on watch time, on engagement, on how long, what percentage of my videos people were watching, and the click-through rate. When the thumbnail's up there, who would see this video with our two handsome mugs on it and actually click it? Who's that appealing to? And then when they do come in here, are we interesting enough for them to stay around for a while and listen to that? And that's made all the difference. So for me, the growth of this YouTube channel is because of folks like you who've given me that feedback that said, hey, here's what's not important, here's what is. And it's amazing that once you shift that mindset and that focus, that you're going to be so much more successful.
Yeah. So instead of focusing on subscribers, a vanity number, instead of that, focus everything. I mean, like tunnel vision, just like 100, like crazy focus on choosing the right topics, right? You got to choose topics that people are interested in the first place. Learning how to get people to click. And this comes through testing all sorts of different types of thumbnails. And getting people to watch your videos longer. YouTube gives us metrics on this. They give us impressions click-through rate. The impressions number is how many people actually saw your thumbnail. Remember I said if they show it to 5 people? Right? So impressions is how many people saw the thumbnail. The percentage number is how many of those people clicked the thumbnail, right? So if they show it to 10 people, it'll say 10. And if your click-through rate is 50%, half of them clicked on that. Right? And they also give us metrics like average view duration or audience retention to tell us how long and to show us how long people are actually watching the video. So we get these tools to let us know if we're doing the right thing or not. So focus everything on that and learning how to make a connection with an audience. If you learn how to get your audience to click and watch, and if you want to super boost it and go and grow faster, get them to watch even more videos, you learn how to do that. You focus everything on that. You will never have to worry about subscribers because they will come. Yeah.
If you build it, they will come. And if you know your metrics, they will come. Very, very cool stuff. Love it. Speaking of subscribers, someone I recognize from your channel, the Heavy Metal Chef, is in the house.
Hey, dude, what's happening, man?
Hope you are doing well. And speaking of metal, I saw Gary Hubbs has snuck in here as well. He's a great metal dude. Plenty of other folks. Scully's House of Thrillers. All of your crew are coming on over here.
The gang is here.
Thank you. The gang is here. So thanks everybody for being here. Once again, if you got questions, get all the curly, tricky ones to Dee, because that's what we got in here for today. Speaking of subs, before we move on from that, silver play button, is that sitting somewhere in Thailand waiting to be unboxed, or has that been shipped over to Mexico? Because you've been over the 100K for a while now, my friend.
Funny story about that. When you hit 100,000 subscribers, you get the silver play button, and YouTube ships it out in a black box. I live in a condominium in Thailand, and all of our deliveries go to the front desk there. So my YouTube play button for quite some time was just sitting in a pile of boxes in our condominium behind the front desk there. So I told my brother who's actually in Thailand, he made it back before the world closed down. I said, go over there and get my YouTube play button. So all I have is I get pictures sent from him where he's actually holding it hostage and taunting me with my silver play button still in the box. It's still in the black box. But the cool thing is, so Daniel Battelle, I do a lot of shows with Daniel Battelle. We do shows together in the Streamyard channel. We do a live stream together over on the Tube Spanner channel. He also received a play button, but he's waiting to actually unbox it with me. We're going to do a dual unboxing. So his play button has been there for as long as mine has been there. But he hasn't opened it. It's just sitting in the background, also in the box. So I think that's really cool.
Wow.
So we're going to do like a dual YouTube play button unboxing. which will be fun.
That's cool. Wow,
that'll be fun.
that is very cool, and he's a good man. And
Daniel's great, man. Yeah.
We'll talk about it again. A hint in our hidden gems. We'll be chatting about Daniel. We are at the midpoint. We're past the midpoint now, so we're in the sort of second half. So thank you for being here. If you're having fun, you know all the YouTube things to do. You can do all those things. You can hit thumbs up buttons. You can hit thumbs down buttons while they're still there. Get them while they're hot. While you still can. So we're going to jump in at the middle of each show. We do a bit of a midpoint motivation because whilst all the technical stuff is important, your mindset is just as important, arguably more important. If you're not functioning, if your mental health isn't in check, it's almost impossible to create anything. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about this. And one of the things that frustrates a lot of people is when they're in that creative block, writer's block, creator's block, whatever you want to call it, video maker's block. And I know on your Facebook group, which you're kind enough to invite me into, Dee, you get a lot of people saying, I got no video ideas, I got nothing in my head, nothing's coming out, nothing's going right. Have you experienced that? And what advice do you have for folks when you hit that absolute brick wall where just nothing's coming through? How do you push through that barrier?
Those are two different questions. So those are two totally different questions. So one question is, what do you do when you can't find YouTube ideas? I'll address that one first. So if you are running out of YouTube ideas, lucky for you, Google exists, and YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So what you do is you head over to Google and you head over to YouTube, and you just start typing in keyword phrases of things that are relevant to your channel, and you're going to notice that they give you a drop-down menu of all of these queries. So if I go over there and I start typing in GarageBand, drop-down's going to happen, and it's going to start... I don't know if you can share your screen just to kind of walk people through this.
Yeah, let's take a bit of a look-see over here. So if we jump over and we come in here, so just to the YouTube search engine, you can see all the things that I've searched for there. So we'll type in GarageBand.
And let's see what happens. Okay, so here's video ideas. These are things that people are actually searching for. So you just type in like GarageBand. Now, I'm not going to... Okay, if you're a new channel, I wouldn't go to the very top there in the purple. Those are highly competitive terms. Like everybody's making those videos. So I would go down to the middle, go down to the bottom there, and look at some of these. Like, okay, here's GarageBand Auto-Tune. That's perfect. So now type in Auto-Tune to the end of that. Okay, you see what's happening here?
Yeah.
Right? GarageBand, right? See what's happening? GarageBand Auto-Tune iPad. So I might go a step further and type in something like how to use GarageBand Auto-Tune iPad or something along those lines. I'm going to spend some time in here, craft this, and kind of mold it into shape until I find something that makes sense. How to use GarageBand Auto-Tune. Go down a little bit. Is there one for iPad?
We've got iOS and we've got iPhone, Auto-Tune, we don't have iPad.
Okay, but that's a video. Somebody needs to make that. Type in iPad and see what happens. Just type it in. Type in iPad.
Oh yeah,
there it is.
There.
Yep. And now hit search.
Oh look, I'm number 2. GarageBand guide. My buddy Patrick's number 1 there, but there you go.
Right. So then what you want to do is you want to look at this and then start looking at their thumbnails and look at how they've put their title together. Look at how they've crafted their description, and then you can say, okay, well, since this is something that people are actually going to search for. These are the videos that are going to be in competition. So you're going to make sure that you make a thumbnail that's going to stand out amongst these videos. So I might choose a different color. I might choose different formats or different ways to draw attention in case my thumbnail ends up in the middle of these thumbnails. So that's a great way to get ideas for videos. It's endless. It doesn't matter. You can type in anything and get all of these ideas and just kind of flesh them out from there. Same thing works for Google. You can also go... Funk Music Home Studio. You can also go to channels who are very large in your niche, right? And go through and read their comments and see what people are talking about. You know, you might find comments that say, "Hey, this video is great and all, but you missed this part," or "It would be great if you went in. It would be. Could you explain this part?" Those are opportunities for you. You can also sort their videos by most popular to see what's working on their channel to get video ideas. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can come up with video ideas. It's endless. It's not that you can't come up with ideas. It's just that you don't understand how to get your ideas yet. So that's the answer to the first question. And there's other ways to come up with video ideas, but those are the easiest. Those are free. super easy way to come up with ideas.
Love
Second question was what? You hit a wall? You hit the wall?
Yeah, so if you so I guess it's related to this. So there you go. If you've hit the wall and you just don't have topic ideas, Dee has solved that for you.
Solved.
If you just can't seem to find a way to actually create, so you even if you've got an idea, you're just sitting there, you're like, how do I script this? What do I say? You've got no ideas for how to actually implement it, and you've hit that creative wall. Is there anything you do? Do you take a break? Do you pivot? Do you do something else? Do you push through? What's been your experience with stuff like that?
Those are two more questions again. So you keep taking us to the fork in the road here. So here's your topic. Here's your topic. You come up with a topic, how to use auto-tune for iPad. How do I craft the video? How do I put the video together? Easiest way to put that video together, how to use AutoPad or how to use auto-tune in GarageBand on iPad. Say that's your title. Yeah. The best thing you could do is record the beginning of that video. So when somebody clicks on that thumbnail, the very first thing they hear is, I'm going to show you how to use I'm going to show you how to use auto-tune in GarageBand on an iPhone or an iPad. Let's get into it. And then get right into it. Don't put an intro in there. Don't do anything. Tell them what they're going to get, and then jump right into that tutorial showing them how to use the auto-tune in an iPad. Don't overthink it. Think about why they're clicking in the first place and give that to them as quickly as possible. That's how you do it. Don't overthink it.
Nice.
Now, if you hit a wall where you're just like, I've lost all motivation. I've lost all motivation. I can't come up with any songs. I can't think of it. I don't want to make a video. I got the blues, right?
You play the blues.
You play the blues. That's when you pick up the guitar and you play the blues, right? That's why the blues was invented. Problem solved. Next. Now, what I do when I get in a funk, I take a break. I've taken months off before. I'm just not feeling it, man. If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. I'll take months off and I'll do other things. I do things that I do find joy in. I listen to I'll listen to a lot of soundtracks or binge watch a lot of stuff with my girlfriend on Netflix, or just do other things to not think about the thing that I don't want to do. And eventually, the spark comes back. And if it doesn't, then maybe you shouldn't think of something else to do. Like, what I mean? Maybe YouTube's not your thing. You might be the best podcaster in the world, or maybe you should be recording albums, or YouTube isn't for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's super. Like, we say that around here a lot because there's a lot of folks who have music YouTube channels, and it's funny that sometimes you watch someone doing a music tutorial and they look like they're in pain. They're so angry. They're so frustrated with the software, with the hardware, with what they're doing. They're clearly not having fun. And I often sit here and think to myself, like, if you're doing music for joy and it's not bringing you any joy whatsoever and it's bringing you frustration, why are you doing it? Like, maybe you need to go play a video game and just relax for a while.
Take a break. Think through why you're on YouTube in the first place. And this is where so many new creators go wrong. Because they're chasing subscribers. They're chasing subscribers. They're chasing views. And it's not happening as quickly as they think it should happen. Therefore, they get discouraged and they start to lose interest in what it is that they're doing. So maybe you're making music or you're doing something, but I'm just not getting any subscribers. This sucks. I'm doing all this hard work and nobody's coming to watch my videos. And then you just lose interest, and it's maybe it's stopping you from making music or doing whatever sort of content is that you're making that you actually enjoy to do, but you're letting those subscriber numbers get in the way and get you down. That's a real thing. That happens to a lot of people. Like, it's not happening fast enough for me. And you got to understand, just like you didn't learn how to play guitar in a day. YouTube takes time. All of these social media platforms take time. You've got to learn the ins and outs. You have to learn how to do it. And it's for some people, it can take years and years and sometimes hundreds and hundreds of videos before you can understand. Roberto Blake has actually said this, and I agree 100%. Like, he'll say, go make 100 crappy videos before you even start to worry about what YouTube is or worry about that you're not growing. Because like for myself, and this is where I agree with him, I didn't even start to get into the groove of my channel until I was around 100 videos.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's where I started to feel like, okay, I'm feeling this. I'm getting my finger on the pulse of what my audience wants. That took a lot of videos in order to get that way. So you can't expect to, play in an all-star game. Like somebody tosses you a basketball, you're not going to go play in the NBA, right? Takes work, takes time.
It does. And it does. Like, for me, it was the same sort of thing. I've made a heap of videos. So I've been doing daily videos for about 2 years now, but more than that. which I know it is. In some days, it's harder, easier than others. But early on, like the first, like I say, at least 100, if not 200 videos, I look back at those and they're pretty cringy these days. Yeah. But if I didn't do them then and get them out of my system and learn from them, I wouldn't be able to produce the videos I am now. If I was waiting that last 6 years and hadn't put anything on YouTube, I would be no better. It's the same with music. If you don't create, like the mantra around here is create, record, release. Like you want to create music, you want to record it, and then you want to release, which could be release it out, or it could be just release it, let it go. Because if you don't let it go and get feedback on that, you'll never know what you're doing. And there's the old thing, you can swing a golf club 1,000 times. If your swing is crappy, you're just going to learn how to swing a really crappy golf club because you're not actually learning from your mistakes. So if you create something, getting feedback on it, and then going back and doing it again, you'd be amazed at how well you can do.
Yeah, and the whole process of like getting better, like let's say you're going to make 50 or 75 or 100 videos, like a lot of gamers do this a lot, where they just come in and they just like brute force uploading. Right, I'm uploading every single day. I'm uploading 5 times a day or 3 times a day. I'm just brute force uploading, but they're not pausing to measure what's working and what's not working. So slow down, pick a pace that you can keep up with. If that's 1 upload a week or 2 uploads a week, that's fine. Upload that. But the trick is every video that you make, right? Keep in mind, most people are coming into this with no skills whatsoever in terms of YouTube. Every video you make, try to make just like pick one thing to improve on the next video. Like you make your video and go, wow, my audio really sucked on that one. Fix your audio, make the next video. Like, wow, my intro was terrible on that one. That hook wasn't strong. Make a better hook, figure out how to do that, make the next video. Oh, my editing just wasn't tight on that. Okay, tighten up your editing, make the next video. Just pick one thing to improve on with the next video. Focus on that and connecting with your audience instead of chasing the subscribers, instead of chasing the views even. Because once you do that and you build that habit of making each video just 1% better than the last video, while at the same time learning how to connect with an audience, getting them to click, getting them to watch longer, like you're building those skills. So after you get 50, 75, 100 videos, you're actually going to be pretty good at what you're doing. And then that's when you're really going to start to see a lot of growth on your channel.
Love it. Very good advice. Again, I hope everyone's got their notepads or their phones or something and are taking notes on this stuff. In fact,
write it down.
Write it down.
Tattoo it on your arm, whatever you got to do.
It'd be interesting to know, actually, because we've got some folks watching live here. How many videos have you actually put on YouTube? So how far along are you in your creation journey? So, Dee, you've got at least a couple of hundred, I think, last time I checked, that you put out there.
I don't know. I've got over 100, but I know that I didn't even start to feel my groove until I hit 100.
Very cool. So let us know. Are you 5 videos in, 20, 50, 100? How far are you along on your journey? Because it may just be that you need to keep going and then keep creating. Brian said that he happened to click my thumbnail for today's show because YouTube's algorithm sense I would click on it after I ate a glazed donut. Yeah, the donut and Studio Live Today algorithm links are very, very strong with YouTube. Love it.
The algorithm knows. Yeah.
It does know. So Kim's got a question here. Does answering or not answering your comments have any effect on your video getting recommended? That's actually an interesting question, and I've got no idea. So
no, it doesn't.
Comments? No?
It does not. It does not. So if you don't reply to your comments, YouTube is not going to say, oh, the creator's not responding to comments, therefore we're not going to push the video out. Right? We're not going to continue to find more groups of people to put this video in front of. It doesn't happen that way. What you are doing is you're sabotaging the opportunity to build an actual community around your channel. So that's where replying to comments come in handy. And when you're new, when you're trying to build up channel momentum, you have the time to try to answer people's comments and build those relationships, because that's how you build a community, right? When your channel gets bigger, when you get 75,000, 100,000, 500,000, you don't have the time. You can't reply to everybody. At best, you go through and you reply to a couple of them, and you got to heart the rest. But when you're just getting started, right? You have the time. And somebody says, "Hey, great video. I like this part," or whatever, or just, "Hey, great video." You can come back and say, "Hey, thanks for watching the video. I appreciate it. What was your favorite part of the video? What was your best takeaway?" Ask them a question. Half the people will come back and tell you. Right now, you've started a conversation now, and this is a great way to build community. In terms of YouTube, YouTube is not going to suppress your video because you're not answering your comments. You're just not going to build a community the way you want to build a community.
Yeah.
So
very,
answer
very
your comments while you can for the sake of community building. But in terms of YouTube video growth,
Yeah.
topic, relevance, right? It's got to be a topic that people are interested in. Click-through rate, right? The percentage of people actually clicking through, and then how long are people actually watching your video? And if you want to supercharge that, you want to get them to watch other videos.
Absolutely. And I think related to comments, one thing I learned from you and that has really kind of revolutionized my channel is utilizing your pinned comment. So your pinned comment is a place where you can actually lead people. So I've just found one here that I stole this idea directly from Dee. It's like you can link to that. This one I've probably done too many things. I'm trying to do 3 things here, but always using your pinned comment and directing people to either, in this case, it was products that I had affiliate links for, but if it's a video, so if someone's watched a video about something and then you think, hey, the question I'm most likely to get is this next one, and you've got a video about it, plonk that down as a comment before you even release the video and then pin that to the top. So that's something I've seen you do a heap. You've found success using that method, I'm assuming?
Yeah, you can take advantage of. So here's a great strategy to use. Go back to your channel there. Okay, so when you're uploading a video, you need to think about what your channel goals are first and foremost. And it's okay to have, you might not know this starting out, but once you do start to build momentum, like I know certain videos, certain types of videos are going to bring in a lot of views and a lot of watch time. I know certain types of videos are great for affiliate sales. I know certain types of videos are going to be great for community building. I make it my video for my actual community, things that they want, right? So you got to understand why you're making the video in the first place. So in Pete's demonstration here, where he just went hog wild with the affiliate link, this is obviously a video for money. Now scroll up for a second. So here's not too far. Do you see the see more thing right there? Don't click it, but do you see more? Okay, don't click that. But here's what I would do. If it's a video for growth, I would put a link in my pinned comment that says, I put a little colorful emoji, a little fire emoji, or a little hand pointing at it to get attention. And then I'd say, what's next? And then I'd put a short little title and then link out to a video. And then right above the show more, I would copy that and put it right there at the show more, the exact same video. And then you can use your pin or your card, which you can put up in your video. So scroll up more. Do you have a card in here? Yep. That card would be the exact same link, and your end screen would link out to that same one video, right? So think of it in terms of all roads lead to Rome, because what you're doing is you're giving the viewer multiple points to go watch the same video. And the trick here is the video has to be relevant to the one that they just watched. So what is this video about?
This is about how to connect an audio interface to an iPad or an iPhone.
Okay, so what would be a great part 2 to that? Maybe the best microphones to use with an iPad or iPhone? Maybe?
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
So let's say you have that video. That video would get linked in your card. That would get linked on my end screen. That one video at the end screen. That would be my link in the before show more, right? That's called the fold, before there. And that would be my pinned comment. And the reason you do that is, and this is really helpful for smaller channels just getting started. The reason you're doing that is because when everybody's clicking on those, they're all going to the same place. And that creates a data point within YouTube. And YouTube says, okay, when people watch this video, they're also watching this video. They're clicking through and they're watching this video. So YouTube makes that data point connection. So then if enough people do that, YouTube will actually start to recommend, here, open your viewer back up, open your browser back up. See that over there on the right there? There's a how to connect home studio equipment. So when you do that enough, that same video might automatically start to show up right there. Or scroll up again. In the play button over there, somewhere along the timeline, there's like a play right there in the middle. Nope. In the middle. No. In the middle, right next to the play button on the audio. One over. There. That's that same video. So when you start making those data points, if enough people start watching, YouTube says, okay, well, since so many people watch this and immediately watch this, we're going to start recommending that video, which in turn brings more views to this video. And YouTube notices that and says, hey, let's start putting this video again in front of people who are interested in iPhone interfaces and iPad interfaces. So it's a new group
Yeah.
of people. So it creates this system to where you're sending people to relevant videos. YouTube notices that, and it starts putting that video out in front of people who are interested in it. And that's kind of how you start to build up momentum. On one video, no big deal. When you do that in your entire content library at scale, when you start to have 100 videos and they're all interconnected in a way where people can binge watch one video and go to the next video, man, it's like putting your channel on steroids.
Yeah. There you
And
go.
answering your
That's it.
comments have nothing to do with that.
we did go. I did warn at the start that we would go off on tangents, but it'll all come back and be related. But that's some good information for me. There you go, Dee. How much do I owe you for this private coaching session? I'll just make out the check. But yeah, I've been doing this, but I think because I'd learned different things over the many years, because I was been trying different things, I was probably confusing things by saying, oh, I want affiliate sales here and I want this video here and my cards are a different one again. Because I'm like, hey, I'll use the scattergun approach and maybe someone will click something and go somewhere, as opposed to all roads lead to this one location, which I think is much better advice.
Well, let's use your example. So you have affiliate links, and that's fine too. So in that case, I would still use my card, and I would still use my end screen to point to one relevant video. But I would use that link above the show more, and I would use my pinned comment to send out to an affiliate or whatever it is you're trying to get people to click on.
Yeah.
So
Yep,
you can do
sense.
both on that one, right? But you got to think about what your purpose is of the video in the first place.
Yeah, totally. No, very, very cool. We did ask a while ago. Sorry, I know we went off on a couple of tangents there, but about how many videos. So coffee, talk, and tech, 3 things that I love. So I'll definitely have to go and check out your channel. 33 videos in, and I'd say you're right about the 100 things will be pretty solid. It is very hard work, and it is. It's hard work, but it's rewarding. I think when you learn and it comes together, it can be super rewarding. We've got QB the Penguin, who's around 100-ish videos, but most of them are gameplay rather than music. But which is cool. Bear has 6 on the way there, Bear. Get started.
It's the pause. Bears are having a difficult time hitting the record button on the camera. So, yeah, you get a pass. Bear, you get a pass.
I love it. And our friend Tom Rochelle. So Thomas Christ, he's a musician, and he started doing live streaming and building up his channel, and he's got 150 videos. And again, for someone like Thomas, you can really tell, I've watched him for the last 2 years, the difference between those first videos and what he's doing now, night and day. And it's because he keeps chipping away and learning new things and implementing, as Dee said, one new thing. Work on your lighting, then you work on your camera, then you work on your audio, then you work on your thumbnail. And don't have to boil the ocean, but if you just keep chipping away at it, you can improve.
Since there's musicians in here, just think of it as like you're learning your scales, right? Sit there with the guitar, sit there with your keyboard. Man, the first time you try to play a scale, it's super awkward, but you just keep doing it, and every day, before you know it, you're like, wow, I know this. And okay, let me learn modes now. And then you start getting into that's a Lydian mode. And you start getting into all this stuff. But it all starts with, usually learning like, a major scale or something like that. But it takes time, and it takes lots of practice. Right? You have to get better at YouTube, just like you have to get better at playing your instrument.
Spot on. Very cool. So we're into the last 30 minutes. So again, big thanks to my guest, Dee Nimmin, for taking the time out and chatting. I think there's been some absolute nuggets of gold dropped here. And speaking of nuggets and gold and gems, we like to do a segment here called The Hidden Gems, which is just some YouTube channels, some resources, some tools, some things that you may not be aware of that can help you with your creative journey. And I've handpicked a few here that I want to throw up, and then Dee, if you've got any that you want to just put out there after we do these 3, you can get your thinking cap on, and any additional ones we can add there. But I know that you already know the ones that a couple of these that we're going to talk about. We'll start with your buddy, the man, the myth, the legend, Daniel Batal. And 180,000 subscribers. He's got epic hair and beard, which you have to have. He's got a little bit more going on upstairs with the hair department than we do. But you know Daniel better than probably anyone on YouTube. Why don't you let folks know why they should go and check out Daniel Batal?
Daniel, we do a lot of streams together. Awesome guy. Daniel's one of the smartest guys in the business. He has a great way of breaking down YouTube and explaining it to you in a matter that makes sense, right? A lot of YouTube educators, and I'm not knocking anybody, there's great educators out there, but sometimes people kind of jump ahead of things and they don't simplify things enough. Daniel has a wonderful way of teaching you the basics of YouTube and get you to focus on the things that matter, right? Like he gets you to focus on the things that matter to actually grow your channel. And he actually does one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested in hiring a YouTube coach or hiring someone for like a one-on-one session, Daniel does that, and that's who I recommend everybody go to for their one-on-one coaching. Absolutely just a brilliant guy. Super nice too.
Yeah, well, and again, I only know Daniel sort of through acquaintance of acquaintance, as it tends to be on YouTube, and because you've done a lot of streams with him, and he's often in your streams, and he's a very funny dude, very cool guy, and the guitar. Anyone that you got the guitars in the background, and you know that they come from a musical background.
He's a rocker, yeah, man, yeah,
because he was actually he was a session player or a touring musician or something.
He was a touring musician.
He's
actually pretty successful with that.
Yeah,
very cool. He can come on and tell his story, but he's quite successful with all of that
stuff.
I
was going to say, don't be surprised if I hit up Daniel Batal and say, hey, people want to learn about you. I think this crowd, the Studio Live Today crowd would actually love to hear from Daniel. So maybe we'll jump on that. Get the referral through Dee.
Daniel and I do 2 different live stream shows together. We do one show once the second Saturday of every month on the Streamyard channel.
Yep.
And then the last Wednesday of every month, we do a stream now over on Tube Spanner's channel, which is a new service that's coming out. It's in beta testing. I think we got it maybe a month or 2 before it's fully open. We were streaming together on the TubeBuddy channel, but we've moved that over to a new home. Nice. So yeah, we work really well together. Awesome dude.
Very cool. And definitely check out those StreamYard streams are really cool. Similar to this, a couple of hours. And like I said, the last one I watched, which was only a couple of days ago, was, just some amazing information just being thrown down there. So if you've got a YouTube channel, you see people's YouTube channels being brought up here. And, Dee and Daniel take them apart in a nice way. There's a lot of those channel reviews that are just like, oh, what were you thinking here? And I think you guys have the softly approach, firm, but fair, I think.
On the StreamYard channel, we actually do channel reviews. So if you want some for free, we do that for free for about 2 hours. So if you want somebody to look at your channel, give you some tips and tricks and things you might be able to do, or look for opportunities that you might be missing on your channel, we do that for 2 hours over in the StreamYard channel.
Very cool. And you can see Dee and his epic duck mug over there on the StreamYard channel. What about this guy? What about our man, Justin Brown, fellow Australian, 900,000 subscribers. This is just ridiculous. He's blown up the last sort of 3-4 years. Justin was always amazing. But what's happened in the last few years here with Justin and Primal Video has been kind of epic. And I think you know Justin and you've met him before, I think, at some live events and things. What do you think of Justin and Primal Video?
Yeah. So, first of all, there's 2 guys up in the header art. That's Mike, his brother. Those guys are brothers. So that's the Brown brothers, Mike and Justin. Mike got screwed on the name. So
I was going to say, what is it? I think I don't think he was in the header before. I think he's managed to edge his way back in there because I'm sure I've seen graphics with just Justin there, but Mike's found his way back.
Yeah. Hands down, these 2 guys, first of all, they're 2 of the funniest human beings you will ever hang out with in your entire life. Anytime I've had the honor of hanging out with these guys, like I feel like I have a 6-pack stomach by the end of the night because it's just nonstop laughs. On a professional level, these guys are literally 2 of the smartest in the entire business in terms of the value that they give you first and foremost in terms of teaching you how to do things top notch, but they're brilliant in terms of how they've built a business around their channel. They've built a very, very robust email system around their channel. For example, if you watch a video about Android, they're going to try to get you to join their newsletter for Android users. They've got courses built up around everything. So everything they do is built up around their business. So in terms of building a business around your YouTube channel, I don't know anyone on the platform that's doing it better than these guys. They're absolute wizards at how they've built a very successful business around their YouTube channel. And they're blowing up because they make great videos.
Yeah, and I think it's exactly. Obviously the subscribers, you look at that and you go, wow, that's amazing. Nearly 1 million subscribers for the channel, but it's more than that. It's the videos and the views and the content and the fact that they are constantly changing and evolving and learning. It's like watching someone learning as they go and implementing their own strategies and being super successful at the same time. It's quite phenomenal.
They're also very generous. So if you get a chance to meet them at an event, Vid Summit, for example, or any YouTuber event or social media event, sit down, have a beer with them, sit down, have a drink with them. Man, they've given me so much information since I've met them, and they're great guys. So you can just hit them up on Skype or whatever. Like, hey, how do you do this? And super generous, very helpful guys. If you want to learn how to truly build a business around your channel, look no further there. You just have to figure out how to implement it into your particular niche. And another thing about Primal Video is I can't search for anything on YouTube without coming up with one of their videos up at the front. Like, how do I do this on an iPhone? Unless it's music related, I don't see them for music. But if it's anything not music related, Justin Brown right at the top.
Yep. Oh yeah,
they dominate YouTube.
The few times I've made, like, I've gone out and I've been like, oh, what about screen recording on iPhone? What about other things that you might do? And it's just like, boom, like there's no competition there.
They dominate. They absolutely dominate. But that's part of their strategy. That's part of the strategy. Like, look at how they craft the titles. Look at how they write the descriptions. Look at how everything is interlinked with each other. Look at how they try to get your email, or they also do free webinar courses. They're amazing business.
They're all over it.
Yeah.
And you've probably noticed that their thumbnails are a little bit sort of next level compared to mine, but I've stolen/borrowed with pride, because they use how to at the start. So exactly as Dee was saying before, they do a tutorial. It's how to do a thing with a thing. So it's how to create a YouTube channel, how to add a custom YouTube watermark. And for me, when I started doing GarageBand, I wanted to basically be the Primal Video of GarageBand. So every time I release a video, it's how to do thing in GarageBand on iPad. And then just rinse and repeat. And the idea was that I wanted to be like Primal Video. I wanted anytime anyone searched for GarageBand and iPhone or iPad together, then my mug would show up in front. So but I do need to. Their thumbnails are amazing. I need to.
Mission accomplished, by the way. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Exactly. It's Doug Hewson YT, which is a convenient time for Doug Hewson to drop in and say, artists do borrow. And if you want to borrow from someone, another fellow Australian creator who has come in here at just the right time, because my third hidden gem for this week is going to be Doug Hewson YT. So
the timing could not be more perfect on that.
Just dropped in just as we're getting there. So Doug, he's a very cool guy. Australian, of course, creates a lot of video content. He actually is, so we were helping out Doug over at the sound test room was having issues with streaming to YouTube because he couldn't get stereo audio. And I said, actually, I watched a tutorial from this guy, Doug Hewson, about Streamlabs and streaming with your mobile using Streamlabs, which gets you around the 1,000 subscriber issue, and it gets you around some of the audio issues you can have. And there you go. So creators helping creators for the win. But yeah, so you know Doug a lot better than I do. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the real Doug Hewson YT?
What is the Australian version of like top bloke, or is that like an Australian thing? What would that be?
It would be top bloke, a bloody legend.
Bloody legend, yeah. Doug Hewson is a bloody legend. The correct way to say that would it be Doug Hewson is a bloody legend, or would I just say
bloody legend?
Doug
you
Hewson,
probably just go
legend.
Doug Hewson, bloody legend, top
bloody
bloke.
legend. Yeah, bloody legend. Here's what. First of all, Doug is just an amazing guy. I had the honor of meeting him at Vid Summit last year, or year before last. We've been locked down for too long. year before last, incredibly generous with his time. He moderates for my live stream. He moderates for my brother's live stream. He's like the master moderator on YouTube. But the thing about Doug is, I guarantee you that if there's something that I need to learn how to do, he has a video on it. Like he's one of my first resources. Actually, so it's like between Justin and Doug, if they don't have a video on it, you don't need to learn how to do it. Like they've got videos on absolutely everything. And Doug is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to having a resource channel or utility-based channel. Where you can literally find anything you want. And he specializes in Streamlabs. Like he really dominates on Streamlabs. And he's doing a lot with YouTube Shorts, I believe, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Very, very cool. Yeah. And
super kind, super generous.
If you're ever in one of Dee's streams or Nick's streams, or like, I don't know where Doug gets the time. Like, he's got more hours in his day, I think, than anyone else does, because he's always there and he's always just so active. It's amazing.
Yeah, Doug is he's bloody legend, first of all, but He's omnipresent. It doesn't matter what time it is. It doesn't matter whose stream you're in. Like you could be in some crazy YouTuber's stream that you've never even seen before, and then here's Doug with the spanner, the wrench by his name, modding, showing people through the door.
Yep, keeping everyone happy and safe. And as Beanie Draw says here, it's a PG way of saying it. Yes, there'd be other words we put in front of legend here in Australia if we were going to be a little bit more rowdy
Bloody
after
legend.
a few beers. Bloody
I
legend.
love that.
Though.
I'm gonna have to start it. Just like Doug Hewson, bloody legend.
Yeah, there you go. You'll fit right in with the Australian crowd.
Yeah, I love it. Bloody legend.
Nice. Do you have any other hidden gems that you'd like to throw out there, Dee, while we're talking resources? Or you talked Tube Spanner before. That's something I've not heard of. Do you want to give us a little down low on that, or anything else that's top of mind?
Yeah, so Tube Spanner, I can't talk too much about it because it's beta testing and it's kind of it's in the works, but it is going to be an amazing tool, especially for newer creators. So if you're probably not subscribed because you haven't heard of it yet. So head over to the Tube Spanner YouTube channel, subscribe to there. Daniel and I do a monthly live stream over there, and we will be announcing over there when it comes out of beta. This is going to be an amazing tool helping a lot of creators focus on the right things. Because not to knock any tools, there's great tools out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are a little bit too advanced for people just coming onto the platform. This is really going to help people walk them through what they need and get them focused on the right things so they can take advantage of the other tools at that point. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. Someone who I think can't get enough attention is your guest from last week, Sarah Newen. I think she's just fantastic. Her channel is a great resource for live streaming, for Canva, for Ecamm, for Streamyard. Another just fantastic creator. Super colorful thumbnails too. I really like what she's doing.
I know. And someone else I need to steal. No, was it borrow? I need to borrow some of her thumbnail. Thumbnail designs.
Are you guys in the same city, or are you?
No. So, funnily enough, I think between myself and so Justin's up in Brisbane, Doug's over. I think Doug and Sarah are both in Sydney or Sydney surrounds. I'm down here in Adelaide. So, yes, I'm in the south of Australia. So, I don't. And we have our state borders have been kind of closed for quite some time. So we're only just at the point where things are opening up and we can get there. But yeah, I'm very keen to do an East Coast tour, and I think I'll just start up in Brisbane and just try and hit up Justin and Mike for a beer, and then I'll go down the East Coast and catch up with Doug, try and get him to buy me beers. I could pay for no drinks if I just go to every YouTuber from the top of the country. I could just get a free drink in every. Well, no, I would buy the drinks. Very cool. So Tube Spanner, go subscribe to that. Check that out. That sounds like something very cool in the works, and of course our friend Sarah Newen as well. Any others before we move on to our last couple of topics here, Dee?
Any others? Of course, go subscribe to my brother Nick if you haven't done so already. Nick Nimmin. He is fantastic at breaking down YouTube and giving you growth tips and tool tips as well. Another fantastic creator. Of course, he's my brother. I learned from the best. He's creeping on 800,000. That's fantastic.
Which is nuts. Yeah. There you go. And the Nimmin live. If you think this is a long stream, go watch a Nimmin live because I don't know how he does that. How does he manage that? How does he manage the hydration and the removal of the hydration? That's a challenge that I have even in a 2-hour show.
you evacuate before you actually go live. When we would stream together before I got stranded here, some of our streams together would go for like 6 and 7 hours sometimes. So Yeah.
Well, I guess when you could tag team at that, did you ever just go, all right, Nick, you're in charge. I need to go and take care of business.
Yeah. Well, we've built an apparatus under the desk.
So you're getting into the TMI, the too much information category, I think.
We didn't do that.
That would be there would be streamers. I'm sure in the gaming community there's some adult diaper work going on. Just
I did. We didn't do that, but I actually did consider doing that. So we have like if you go look at the older, we have like an entire live streaming studio. I don't know. I don't think I actually talked to you. I don't think you and I had talked much when I was still streaming there. But we've got like an entire live streaming studio where the two of us sit side by side, and we've built like this really cool streaming studio. And we actually considered building an apparatus under the desk. I mean, it's like, just easier just to, use it because we have like 3 or 4 different cameras. Which, just give us a cue and the other person will carry it for a while.
I like it. Doug says, Nick who? Yeah, that guy.
The other guy.
The other guy, yeah. Yes, and yeah, don't go into a D stream and say, "Are you Nick Nimmin?" Because I'm sure you're a little bit tired of that. All right. Well, as I said, we're coming into the end. I wanted to ask. We'll talk a couple of YouTube things as well, but we've talked about your music, and another thing that you're pretty passionate about is travel. And I've asked you this question as well. That if you didn't have a YouTube channel about what you're doing, which is helping mobile creators, what would it be? And you said travel. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about your travel experiences here.
Yeah, well, the thing is I've been on the run for 10 years. They're never going to take me alive. So, yeah. I'm not actually traveling so much as I am running.
Running. Well, you are in Mexico. It is a place where people do tend to run to when things go a little south.
Yeah, no. In all seriousness, I was going to start a travel channel before I started the channel that I did now. And despite having 20 years of experience working with video production, I didn't have any real experience working with YouTube, so I wasn't sure how to put a YouTube video together. So I went to Nepal. I went on this huge trip in Nepal. My girlfriend and I trekked to Mount Everest Base Camp in Nepal, and I took all of this gear with me, and I shot I don't know how many hours of footage. And when we finally got back from the trip, when I was trying to edit that, try to put it together, I was like, it wasn't efficient. I had too much footage, too many things to go through. And at that particular time, I didn't have the skills yet for YouTube to be able to focus on what mattered. And I was like, I can't do this. I got to focus on something else. So I ended up with this channel. I've considered, now that I have a better understanding of how YouTube works and how to shoot what does matter and skip the things that don't, I'm still entertaining the idea of, I'm in Mexico, I live in Thailand, I do a lot of traveling. I'm entertaining the idea of kicking off a travel channel again, as well as a music, passion projects. You know what I mean? They're not for money, they're just, I like to make stuff. So I'm just thinking, like, do I have the time to do it? Do I have a time for a travel channel? Do I have a time for a music channel? We'll see. But I love to travel. I've been to a lot of places, a lot of crazy places. I used to go down to South America, to Colombia and Venezuela and places back when Colombia was like super sketchy. I've been to some crazy places. I love traveling. That's probably my first. Well, music's always been my first love. Travel's probably been my second.
Very cool. And have you been to Australia? Have you been down under?
I have been to Australia. I went to VidCon, and I had the honor of meeting Beanie Draws down at VidCon. I was there 2 years ago, I believe. Melbourne, I believe you could pronounce it.
Yeah, Melbourne.
Melbourne.
You just got to go Melbourne. There's no O-U-R or anything there. Just Melbourne.
Yeah. Beautiful city. I couldn't believe how beautiful it was down there. I hope to come back there, and I would love to rent a car and just travel around and explore the country. But
I think you've just sold us on this. What you need to do is you need to fly into Adelaide, and we could get in the car together. We play music and we travel, and we do the Great Ocean Road. We go right up the east coast of Australia, and we end up at Justin Brown's patio in the Sunshine Coast. So there you go. 2 weeks, like 3 weeks, done. Documented the whole thing.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah.
Very, very cool. And Clayton Von Clue says, Foster's is Australian for beer. Oh, they're going to go, Foster's Australian for beer. We don't drink Foster's. So please, if you ever meet a real Australian, don't buy them a Foster's. They'll probably punch you in the face or probably just politely decline it, perhaps. All righty. All right, one more thing. Now, before we finish up here, I wanted to ask you for your views on this one here, because you've been the king of shorts for the last couple of months. You've done a lot of videos on shorts and on short form content. I know you're a big TikTok fan, and you've persuaded me to get back on the TikTok bandwagon because you convinced me that once you actually train it to not show you the dancing teenagers, there's actually some really good content in there. Talk to us about short form content and why people need to jump on this and start creating short stuff.
Well, first of all, have you trained TikTok yet to give you what you like?
Should we do a live test? I've been trying to, but while you talk, I'll bring it up and we'll see what the first video that comes up here on TikTok is, and we'll see how well I've done. No, I'm not done so well because it's someone just standing in some sort of prank video.
That's me dancing on TikTok.
Is that you dancing on TikTok? Yeah. So I'm getting there, but oh look, I've got some Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm getting there. I'm starting to slowly train the TikTok. So
there you go. Okay, let's talk about short form content. short form content, even though it's been around for a while, right? Snapchat, right? It's been on Snapchat. TikTok is a powerhouse. The thing about short form content is it's still a gold rush in terms of it's easy to get discovered while making short form content, right? So you put up a YouTube video, and we talked about before, you might have to put up a lot, 50, 75, 100, 200 videos on YouTube before you really start to build momentum sometimes. It's not crazy to think that you're going to upload a TikTok video, and sometimes it takes a while there too, but sometimes people upload a TikTok video, and that first video goes crazy. Right? Second video is crazy. Third video goes crazy. So discoverability, I think, is a lot easier on platforms like TikTok. But there's not just TikTok. So you've got TikTok, Instagram Reels, which I think is difficult to get discovered on. You've got Dub Smash, Likey, Byte, and now you've got YouTube Shorts. I do think people making YouTube Shorts now, I think it's still a gold rush, but I think it's the tail end of a gold rush. People who got in early on YouTube Shorts, they were getting insane views on those shorts. Now everybody's trying to do it. Tons of competition. It's a lot more difficult to get noticed with YouTube Shorts. But I think short form content, obviously it's here to stay. Doesn't matter if you like vertical content or not. It is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. But I think it's something that people should at least try. Try to sit down and come up with a plan. So you know what? I'm going to try like 25, 30, 40 videos of short form content. Upload it to YouTube Shorts, put it on TikTok, put it on Dub Smash, put it on Likey, put it on Byte, put it on Instagram Reels, because you never know where you're going to find an audience. I know some creators who were failing on TikTok, but they took the same exact content and put it on YouTube Shorts and had crazy success. And the exact opposite. People who couldn't get traction with YouTube Shorts put the exact same videos on TikTok and exploded their TikTok channel. And in turn, because they exploded their TikTok channel, they could put their YouTube channel in their bio and their link in TikTok. And they blew up their TikTok channel, and through that link, we're able to send people back over to YouTube. So they kind of did like a full circle. Yeah. It's weird. So I would say at the very least, test it 20, 30, 40, 50 videos. Put some time into it, test it, put it on all the platforms, because you never know where you're going to find a community. And right now, everybody's rushing to YouTube Shorts. TikTok there's still plenty of opportunity on TikTok. Not a ton of people are uploading to Byte or Dub Smash or Likey. It's tons of opportunity there. So,
yeah. Well, I have heard you reference those, and I every time you say them, I'm like, oh, I should actually go and check those out, because I have no idea what they are.
Yeah, I mean, it may not work, but I know a lot of people and I know people who didn't do well on TikTok and didn't do well on YouTube Shorts, but they're absolutely killing it on Dub Smash.
Yeah.
So yeah, you never know where you're going to find your audience.
Very cool. I will try and get over my old man dislike of vertical video, because
I hate it. The funny thing is, my very first video on my YouTube channel, I talk about how to make better video for your phone, and one of the things I say is, do not make vertical video. Resist. But at that time, we didn't have all the short form content platforms. So what I believe now is, if you are making normal content for your channel, don't make it vertical, right? Horizontal is the way to go. That's the way people are looking at it. But if you are uploading short form content that was designed for people to watch on a mobile device, make it vertically. It makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think a tip that you gave, because I've done 2 short videos, haven't really done much yet, but there's a couple of tips that you gave recently. One was to make sure that it's aligned with your channel. Don't make a short video about you doing a prank when you've got a music channel, because unless it's a prank about music, it doesn't make any sense to be there. And the other one that I'm really interested in testing myself on this channel is to make a short form content that's almost a lead in to a longer form video. Because I remember asking you on one of your streams to say, how do I connect the dots? Like, how do I make sure that? And you said, like, just put a call to action. Like, put it in like you said before, put it in the comments, put it in the pinned comment, put it in the description. But there's nothing to say, oh, hey, I hope you enjoyed this. Do a 30-second video. And at the end say, and if you want to learn, like if I did one on how to use GarageBand, if you want to learn more about GarageBand, check out my GarageBand tutorial. Link below.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of let's focus on musicians here. I follow a ton of music channels on YouTube, and what I'm seeing a lot of musicians do that are doing, how-to type content. So instead, and let's just use GarageBand as an example, because that's more in alignment with your channel. So instead of making a short video where you're trying to stuff all of this information into a 30 or 60-second video, focus on one GarageBand tip. Focus on one thing, right? Like, how to get better mastering EQ on GarageBand, and then give them a really short video on that, and then tell them really quickly at the end that if they want to deep dive into GarageBand, you've got a link to a video in the description. And then that will link them over to your channel into a longer form piece of content where they can deep dive to learn more about GarageBand, right? Just give them one tip.
Gold.
Try to lead them over to the channel that way. Some people will come, some people won't come.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's excellent advice and something I'll be testing. So I'll let you know how we go with that in the future. But there you go. Yeah, watch all the shorts. And you've been doing shorts? I know you and Daniel are talking about shorts a lot on your channel. Have you got shorts
on my
going yet?
channel? No. On my channel, no. Some of the channel members that I work with who've hired me to work with them, we do stuff on their channel, and I have some test channels where I've been testing shorts and different strategies that way. I haven't put them on my channel for a couple of different reasons, but YouTube is going to give us our own separate tab to where they're going to separate shorts from because currently shorts get mixed in with your normal videos. Yeah, I didn't want that. Once they give us the tab where it separates the shorts, I might start uploading them on the channel. It's just a choice.
Very cool. No, I like it. And thank you to Tom. I did have one short that worked well. That's the iPhone text replacement, which I absolutely lean on because, that's one of the coolest features. And again, I think that's really good. So again, watching your stream, I'm like, oh, wait, anything that's to do with iPhone where you have to do something in your settings, that way around, that's perfect for a screen recording short. So that's what I started with, and it worked quite well. So
the videos I've had the most success with on TikTok have been iPhone related. How to do something, how to turn dark mode on your iPhone.
Yeah.
I think I got one of my iPhone videos has over 1 million views on TikTok, and it just exploded when I put it up over there. So yeah,
it's insane. There's stuff out there. Thank you so much. We're at the end. That 2 hours that just flew by because, again, the truth bombs being dropped were regular and consistent. So where are you streaming? Because you normally stream around about this time on a Sunday. So do you have a stream to go to? Do you have to hydrate and then do it all again?
I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to eat something. I'm going to flush the system out, and I'm going to come back and start my own stream.
Very cool. So there you go. If you can't get enough Dee Nimmin, then jump down. You can subscribe to the channel down below, and then when Dee goes live, you can do it all again. Just don't ask him the same questions because he's already answered them all. So get some new and original questions to throw Dee's way on the stream. Anything else that you'd like to let folks know about before we finish off here, Dee?
No, I'll just let you know that if you are a YouTuber, right? I know a lot of you musicians, but if you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, currently my channel is focused on mobile creators. So if you're doing this with an iPhone or an iPad, I've got videos to help you do that. But I am going to be slowly transitioning. I'm going to continue to do phones, but I'm also going to start working in cameras and computers and that sort of thing. So if you want to grow on YouTube, you're trying to figure out how to do all of this stuff, and you're interested in gear and growth tips, head on over to the channel, subscribe, and watch the videos that you're interested in. I'd love to have you over there.
Absolutely. And I will see all of you over on Dee's stream because I'm a regular there and hanging out there, and he brings the funk. I hope they got the funk ready today. I know people were disappointed at the lack of funk the last couple of weeks, so got to bring that funk back. And we only scratched the surface on the music stuff, so we'll have to have another chat about music. And have you got a bass over there in Mexico at the moment, or have you?
I don't. I have a keyboard. And I'm just doing everything inside of Logic. I'm working a little bit with Ableton, so I've got my PC and I've got my Mac or my Mac Mini. So on the PC, I've got Ableton. On the Mac, I've got Logic Pro. So just doing that.
There you go. Love it. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to my guest, Dee. I hope you got some value out of this one. If you did, hit the like button. And again, jump down in the description because you'll be able to check out Dee's channel there and jump over for his live stream and finish the weekend the right way. So until next time, thank you, Dee, and we'll see you real soon.
Thanks for having me.
Take care, folks.